Hey everyone. Now a few of you remember I was working on a 3D spectrum analyzer a couple of years ago now. Well, lately I've done a lot of work on it and it's pretty much at a stage where it's usable. So I'll show you in this video what it can do and where it's up to. Alright, here it is when you first start it up. So the first thing you've got to do is select an input. So there's the inputs. So I'll just pick, well, you've got RTL-SDR, HackRF or microphone. And within the first two you've got either samples or sweep. So samples is just a sampling one and it performs FFT on it. So there's the sample mode. Now this is to look like a real spectrum analyzer, which have all got the frequency, span, amplitude button and the readouts on the screen or down the bottom. These readouts are down the bottom, so you can see the center frequency is there, 98 meg, span 2.05, which is basically the sample rate, which I'll get to in a minute, but that's the general gist of it. Now if it was in sweep mode, you'd just press span up here to sort the span out, but because it's sample mode, the span is determined by the sample rate. So you just press the bandwidth button over here to choose your sample rate, which will affect the span, as you can see down the bottom. So the max that the RTL can do is 2.4 megasamples a second. Gives you 2.4 meg span. Now if you go to amplitude, we've got some amplitude stuff here like the ref level that just determines pretty much where it is on here. But if you go to RF gain, you can see you have the auto gain, you have all the different gain values of an RTL. I just keep that on auto really. Now these buttons here depend on what you've pressed over here. So if you press frequency, you've got your center frequency, your start frequency and that. If you press amplitude, you've got your amplitude stuff. If you press marker, you've got your marker stuff. And then return or escape just takes you back. So these buttons here are the same as the function keys. Because pretty much everything here can be done using the keyboard without the mouse. So what you can do, you can hold it there, you can zoom right in. If you get stuck, you can just right click view all again. This is the 2D display, which is the one that you'll use the most. Now because these are radio stations and they're always transmitting about the same power, you can go to trace here and do some averaging. So I'm going to put a little bit of averaging on that, or quite a lot. So if you put a lot, you really get to see what's going on there. But that's not good for very bursty signals like Wi-Fi pulses or other little transient signals, but it's good for something that you know is generally there. Now I'll just back that off a bit so it looks like it's got some sort of life about it. So as you'd expect, I've got the max hold here, so you can see the max values on there. That's probably easier to see if you don't have averaging on. So that's without max hold and without averaging. You put max hold on, you'll see it there. And of course I've got peak search, so you can see the peak value of where it is at the time. And again, you can pause it and have a look. So that's that. Now let's say, got some averaging on here. I'll put a lot of averaging on. I've got some markers. So if you press M or go to markers, you can see I've got a frequency marker here. And I've got another frequency marker here. So let's say I go to the first one and I go somewhere on that peak there. Second one somewhere on that peak. Or you can just do marker to peak. So next peak, boom, it'll put it there for you. And you can see the bandwidth down here, 400 kilohertz. So that gives you some way to measure the bandwidth between two signals. So straight away you can see it's 400 kilohertz between the two radio stations. And these are the tools I was after, a real spectrum analyzer where you could dig right in and look at stuff. Now I've also got power markers as well. So to go up this way, you can go marker 1, marker 2, and you'll get the power readout down here, the difference between them, if you want that sort of thing there. Now what I've also done, if you just go through to the next menu, which I might clean up one day, is you've got a peak list. So the top 5 of them, I just list them down here. So the top 5 peaks automatically found, and you get their frequency and power readout down here. Now let's say you do have a couple of markers on here. You've got one there, one there. I've got different types of display. So that's the 2D display, but if you go to display type, you might put up the old 3D display here, and you can see them there. Now I've got some bugs with this because the direction's wrong. But the marker does still appear. So if I don't know, move the marker, you can see it there. It's just that it's 3D now. That's the only difference. Now you can adjust that, of course, with that amplitude and ref level that I was telling you about. So you can make that to where, you know, like a squelch, it sort of disappears off the signal altogether. Or just put it there where you want. Again, max hold still there as well. And so is the peak search. So it gets a bit crowded, but you can see it all there. Now some of the core features of this is I didn't want any drop-down menus. I just wanted push buttons to keep it nice and simple. Wanted to be nice and big to read them, even though I might adjust the GUI a bit later on. And I wanted it vendor neutral, so you can, as long as you've got Python, you should be able to run this. Now I've got the Linux version and the Windows version working, and I've got to speak to a certain Norwegian to see about the MacBook. That'll probably come as well. Now if I go back to input and select HackRF sweep, you'll see a sweep mode. I'll go back to my 2D display because it's much better. And I will take off the averaging and I will remove the markers and just get your normal display. So you can see here I've got the center frequency at 126 meg, but it's got a span of 250 meg, which is pretty wide. So I can see there's the FM radio stations in there from 88 to 108 meg, and you can see the digital ones up here. These are from my antenna on the roof, so I get a pretty good signal with these. But let's say I just want to look at these digital radio stations up here. So I want to center at about, let's say 200. I'll go frequency, center frequency, 200, and you can press M for megahertz, G for gigahertz, and K for kilohertz, or just use the mouse, whichever you choose. And you can see the span is still, where's the span? 250 meg. Now I can change the span by going span, I don't know, 40 meg, probably still too wide. But you can see it there. So there's 4 digital radio stations. Now, a bit hard to see. You can see it a bit easier with the max hold, but you can change the bandwidth. The bandwidth, the res bandwidth down here is 30k by default. I can make that right down to 5k. You can see the noise floor sort of drop down a bit. The higher I go with this, you'll see the noise floor go right up. If I go really high, you can't make much out of that. So you have to have a little bit of resolution bandwidth there, but 30 is what it sort of tends to be. But as I said, you can go right down here. And because that's a constant kind of signal, again, you could put that averaging back on and make it really clear. And there you go. Put your max hold if you want, or whatever. Now I've got some other display types, like I've got the waterfall. So here's a waterfall for that, and floor and the ceiling values, I might need to adjust them. It's like the max and min kind of thresholds. Let's have a look. Oh, that's not very good. You kind of probably get the idea. You can see them there. All the details are in fact there. I want that high, I want that low there. Anyway, you get the idea. Actually, I'll show you some others. I've got, if I just use the RTL samples, because it's pretty sensitive, and I go to the frequency, go back to 98 meg for center of the radio. I can show you the other display types. I've got a surface plot here, which is a real 3D one here. So you can see that there. And anything that's relevant to the display type will be in its submenu. So if I go to surface, you'll see some stuff for that. So I can auto-rotate it if I want, or make the history not as big so it can be really fast. And if I turn that averaging off, you'll see it sort of a lot clearer. You see it there, and of course the peak search is there. You can still hold it and have a look, do that kind of thing. That's the surface plot. So display, what else we got? Ribbon, that's going to go. That's kind of like the 3D one, but it's a bit lame. And density. Now I'll come back to density when I get to the microphone, but actually I'll show you now. You can see it there. You can have different decay on it. You can have it accumulate, but this doesn't really change much because it's those constant radio stations. Actually, what I'll do now is go to preset and recall stuff, because I've got some stuff preset here. You can save basically the config. So I've got one here called radio, which was a 3D one rotating of radio. I've got an average thing here of radio. I've got 2.4 gigahertz. This is the antenna on the roof, so this is whatever's going on in the neighborhood in 2.4. Comms, now I've got some comms stuff here, some radios on about 400 and something meg. You can see them coming and going on the waterfall display. You can see one just sort of ended there. That's where that display is handy. And now the microphone, I'm going to get to this microphone here and show you this. So this is a really good one actually. If we go back to 2D, you can see the audio of me speaking. Now this is where a little bit of averaging comes in handy. But what you'll see is a bit of a spike up the top here. What I can do is go trace and then go to, amplitude, and then do trace normalize. If I press that, it takes a few samples and then sets it like tarring a scale kind of thing. So that's like a starting point. And like I said, with the bandwidth, this is the sample rate. So depending on what your card can do, like do that, right click. But I just stick to 48. 48. In audio, it doesn't make much sense to have this a linear frequency scale. In radio, it kind of does, but it doesn't for audio. So what I'll do is I'll go to display and change that to log frequency. So now it makes more sense to be logarithmic for audio. So you can see it sort of move normally there. But one thing I will show you is, if I just go back here, with the bandwidth, on a real spectrum analyzer, you've got a thing called zero span. And when you do that, it turns this into an oscilloscope. So now you've got an oscilloscope display with time down the bottom. And you can see, I can zoom right out, you can see stuff that's relevant to an oscilloscope. So for instance, that's free running at the moment, but I could have a trigger level. So you could set that to trigger off, the rise or the fall. And if you want more time, you can just sort of rip that out and get heaps more if you really want. You got heaps. Depending on what you need, it's all there ready to go. And put the bandwidth back to something bigger to be a spectrum analyzer. Now another thing I've got is persistence, which is pretty boring. That just sort of makes it a bit shadowy in the background, so you know, like an old phosphorus sort of display, but it's a bit wanky, but it's there anyway. Averaging you've seen. Live on and off just turns the live plot on and off, and that's handy if you've got hold, because that's a bug. You've got max hold, which you've seen. You've also got min hold, so it pushes that down or pushes the top one up, and you might not want the live display while you're doing that, that's all. You may not want it, so you can turn the live one on and off. And another thing I've got is the memory. So with memory, I can store a couple here. So I'll store one now. Right, I've just stored one in B. And what I've noticed is when the fridge is running, you can hear the motor, and I'll store that one in A. And then what I can do, actually I won't bother. I'll just sort of be talking here, maybe whistle like, okay, I've stored A. What I can do now is show A minus B, and then turn the live one off. I'll turn A and B off, and there's the difference. So that's A minus B, and that's handy if there's a noise and then not a noise, or a signal in RF and not a signal. You can just show the difference between the two. And up here I've got export image, so I can export that image as whatever and just save that out. You can save the state of the instrument, so I've got a 2.4 gig one here with a 2D plot, comms here with the waterfall. I've got a microphone one here spinning around as I talk, which you could probably do with a lower F level because I changed mic. So that's flying along, and you know, update that if you want. So save that to microphone. That way when I recall it, it'll be the same as it was just then. Now, let's have a look at 6 gig, shall we? Now here I've got it tuned into 6 gigahertz with the HackRF, and I've got a phone on the 6 gigahertz network about to do an iPerf test. So what I'll do is I'll put the max hold on, start the iPerf test, and you can see quite clearly the traffic in 6 gigahertz. So I don't know if you saw that then. It did a brief bit where it was only in the first half, so you get to see that. But what you can do, actually I'll just probably stop the iPerf running. You can see it clearly where it is, but like I said before, you've got markers. So I could put a marker on there and put a marker on the end of the signal. As you see it there. And you can see the bandwidth down the bottom, 160 meg. So I've got a 160 meg channel. I mean, obviously you can read it down here, but if you want to measure a signal, that's just an example of how you can do that. And this thing's fine for me seeing what I need to see in 6 gigahertz as well. Now another thing you can do, let's say I've got a radio station here, it's a strong one at 100.3. I'll give it some averaging to make it its average power there. So you can see it there. I'm tuned into center frequency 100.3. What I can do is look at the value where that is. I'll just do a peak search and see that it's at, let's say 43 dBm. If I go to the HackRF sweep, let's say, now it's wideband at the moment. I'll just make it span a little less, make it 20 meg span. And the frequency is not where I was, so frequency 100.3 meg. It's showing at, what's it showing at? Minus 15, not 43. So it's way different, but what I can do is I can adjust that with the cal button. So I can set that cal to be 43. So now, when I switch between the HackRF sweep, which is that one, or the RTL samples, it's the same level for the same signal. So it's written up the top here. If I go to it, you can see that it's calibrated at that frequency for that value. Now I've got another little feature here, because it's often on a monitor like this, but sometimes you want it on a vertical one, which doesn't make sense to have it look like that. So I can just press the vertical button and it puts the controls underneath, so I can run that on a vertical screen while I'm doing whatever I need to do over here. Or what I can do is Alt-Enter and pop that out, let's come over there, and make the full screen. And you've just got the details at the top of the input source and the frequency that you're on. So because it's a keyboard shortcut thing, I still put max hold and peak and all that just with the keyboard. So just in case you need it on a bigger screen, you can do that. Just press escape to put it back into its normal place. Now the RTL sweep mode isn't as fast as the HackRF sweep, but it does let you do a wide bandwidth with the RTL dongle. So you can see here I'm centered around 98, but I've got a 20 meg span, so there's the whole FM band. But if you want, you can set the span to 100 meg. Okay, so it's going from 48 to 148. I have to expand that to see it. But you can see this business here. It's not fantastic. It's never meant to be fantastic, but it does give you something. Now there'll be some analysis stuff here too. Like this is FFT. You can see your sample size, obviously that's gives you the resolution there as well. Or you've got your window types, I might add some more of those as well. But I've got power spectral density, which looks like FFT, just a lot lower if you see if I switch between those two. But it's not perfect yet, and neither's duty cycle, but constellational will be coming as well, so it can do digital stuff, but that's not implemented yet, but I will get there at some point. Now, one of the reasons I made this spectrum analyzer is because there's a lot of these RTL-SDR dongles out there, and even HackRFs. These are cheap SDR devices, but there wasn't really a good spectrum analyzer for them, especially for the HackRF in sweep mode, which can do, as you saw, very wideband, very fast. And by doing this, it just gets more people to actually look at spectrum. And the range that these cover isn't just Wi-Fi, so it's not just a Wi-Fi spectrum analyzer, it's not just an audio one, it does whatever you can do. So basically from DC, meaning audio, DC, up to well into 6 gigahertz with this. So that's why I did it, so the more people actually start looking at RF with the stuff that they've probably already got at home. Here I've got it running on a Windows tablet, and it's running vertically here, so you can see that benefits this sort of layout. So you've still got all the buttons as they are buttons here, and frequency stuff, so when you do stuff and you're out and about, you've got a portable spectrum analyzer. You've also got the HackRF here working on Windows, doing its sweep. You can see it taking 12 milliseconds for a sweep. And again, just adjust the center frequency if you want. So 5.5 gig, make the span 1 gig, and there's your 5 gig range. All right, so there it is. It's at a working stage. I'm still working on it. There's a lot of bugs involved, but if Silicon Valley can spit out fucking software and charge heaps for it with bugs, then I can give you some free stuff with bugs, eh? So anyway, I will be working on it more and more now. So it's at a stage where it's usable, you can do stuff with it, and I'll add some features that I've already thought about to it in the near future. So that'll do for now. Have fun with it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but it was free, so don't complain. Anyway, that'll do for now. Till next time, take it easy.